So students, today we will start with a new lesson, that is chapter 16, Management of Natural Resources. So let's start with a small story wherein, so now unknowingly you have got holidays, so let's not take these holidays as because it's purely of the COVID-19, but let's think about the summer holidays. Otherwise summer holidays you might be planning out to go for trekking or go for some other places, sightseeing or anything else. So let's take that you are going for a trekking into the lower Himalayas and you have got enough food, but you forgot to take a lot of water with you. You have just a single bottle of water. You have traveled a long way and you have reached it. It's not that you have friends, you have planned alone and you have reached a long way and you have a very less amount of water, that is particularly 1 liter of water or so, and you need to have this water till you reach your destination. So the thing is that you need to utilize this source of water very minimal quantity. So you can imagine that the same way we need to also utilize our natural resources in a very minimal way, and how to conserve these natural resources or sustain these natural resources, because a lot of things we are dependent nowadays, or from the beginning we are dependent on the natural resources such as water, wood, fire, forest, so wildlife, flora, fauna, etc. So you can imagine when you have only 1 liter of water bottle and half, that is 50% of the water you have utilized, you now know the value of the water, that you do not get the water, drinking water facility nearby and you need to use it very much carefully. So the same way we are also destroying our natural resources and we need to take care of our natural resources, and this lesson is how to sustain. So how we are going to manage or sustain the natural resources. Okay, let's imagine that some of it got depleted. Also, there is another way that we can at least make sure that these natural resources does not get completely depleted off, or we can rearrange or renew, or we can reuse or make another arrangements for that these natural resources remain for our next generations. So let's begin with that. Let's take an example of River Ganga. You know that River Ganga is most polluted a river, wherein the River Ganga flows from the Himalayas to the Bay of Bengal, that is 2,500 kilometer stretch, and from the Himalayas it flows to the Bay of Bengal. You can imagine that through this way, the stretch of Bay of till it reaches to the Bay of Bengal, there are a lot of different places or states through which this river flows through. And you can imagine that how much human activities are involved into this dumping of the wastes or garbages into the River Ganga. Or you can see that a lot of activities such as bathing, washing, corpse remains or dead bodies are flown or allowed to flow through the water, and this leads to contamination of the water. So you can see that River Ganga is almost polluted. So there is another way that you can see that human intestinal bacteria. So human intestine has bacteria that is known as coliform bacteria. So this coliform bacteria can be harmful when it reaches to the water bodies or River Ganga. For example, we are taking River Ganga. It can be any other river that causes contamination, wherein this coliform bacteria from the gut or the intestine reaches the river through the feces of the or the remains or waste of the human body, and it reaches the River Ganga. There it gets contaminated and this bacteria flourishes there, and it causes a lot of diseases, waterborne diseases, which will affect again the human beings. So how is that? Through the process of bathing, washing, corpse remains, coliform bacteria, this river is totally contaminated, and also to the waste of the factories or industries, you can see that river Ganga is getting almost polluted. So you can see that Ganga action plan means how to protect Ganga or how to remove the contamination that has already happened through these polluted Ganga through these years. A Ganga action plan was initiated by Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi in the year 1986, and this plan was initiated at the year 14 January 1986 to make sure that a clean Ganga or the water bodies are clean for further use, and also to protect our biodiversity. Biodiversity also consists of the various floras and faunas, and you can see that when this water got polluted or contaminated, you can see that lot of toxins got inside the water bodies, and it also affected the microorganisms, that is good flourishing microorganisms, and animals such as fish and others that was living in the water bodies, which caused lot of toxic effects. And in turn, for example, the human beings who consume fishes, you can see that lot of mercury and lead contents through the water bodies entered into these animals, and this has been again consumed by the humans, wherein it causes a lot of effect or diseases that is unimaginable. So let's get back to where we were trekking in, and we saw that, or you saw that, you have left with very less amount of water and you have entered into a forest. So let's see forests. So once we say forest, what comes into your mind first? So a lot of plants, trees, animals. So wild animals, etc. So forests are majorly the hotspots of biodiversity. Because it is forests provide almost the living conditions or the floras and faunas inhabited in the forest, and also it is also useful for the human beings to maintain the weather and climatic conditions, and it will reduce the pollution and also maintain the environment clean. So you can see that as forest is considered as the hotspots of biodiversities, you can see what all we get from the forest. We can get forest food, other resources, so this also is known as wealth, variety of flora and fauna living, and also you can see wealth. Depletion of our resources is also due to the awareness. You can see that all these resources, most of the resources we get it from the forest itself, but you can see that we as human beings are depleting the forest, and when you enter into the forest you are shocked. So why you are shocked? Because you are shocked that most of the trees, the forest means it should be almost thick and dense, but you see that most of the trees have been cut on, and you get very much affected by the scene that you are seeing in the forest. And why this happens is, let's come to know the definition of stakeholders. So who are all stakeholders? So stakeholders are those who utilize the forest resources or the produce. Okay, so you might be thinking that the stakeholders might be the thieves, yeah, or stakeholders might be the factory owners, or those people who want who want money due to illegal activities. No, the stakeholders are generally the human beings who are directly or indirectly dependent on the resources or the produce of the forest contents or the forest resources. So you can see that. So villagers or people living in and around the forest, who are dependent on the natural resources or the wood, mainly wood as the fuel or wood used to build their houses or roofs. So you can see that they are dependent purely on the forest resources for their everyday living. So the villagers or people living in and around the forest are also using the produce of the forest. So they are also one of the stakeholders. And you can see that Forest Department of government, why they are also called the stakeholders? Because these people are there to make sure that the law and order of protection of these resources are intact, and people will follow those law that is already put into laws and regulations are put into practice. So you can see that these are also stakeholders. Forest department officials are also stakeholders. So next comes the industrialists. So industrialists are majorly dependent on the wood and other forest resources, or they may deplete the forest resources or cut down the trees for building up their factories. So you can see that those places where the trees were there or the forest got completely depleted in the one area, then you can see that there is loss of the trees which was holding the soil, and this causes the soil erosion, and also there is an imbalance or ecological imbalance in the nature. So you can see that here industrialists who are using the forest produce. Then comes the natural or nature enthusiasts. So what do you mean by nature enthusiasts? So like me and you, if you are interested to protect the forest or the trees, flora and fauna, there is an organization or the number of people togetherly join and make a group, and they make sure that these forests are conserved or protected. So they are nature enthusiasts or nature lovers. So you can see that general public are also stakeholders. So as we can say that we as a general public, we are also stakeholders. Directly or indirectly, we will be using the forest produce like furnitures or window panes, everything has been made from the wood. So we as a general public are also stakeholders. So in simple meaning, stakeholders are those people who use the produce of the natural resources, especially the forest resources, are known as stakeholders. So, who all use the forest resources and why it is used? Let's see now. So, forest resources. So, as we are told that people living in and around means for fuel, fodder for the cattle. And you can see that lot of medicinal plants also we can find in the forest, and these people, whoever is living in and around, may not have the might not have the transportation facility or the facility or to go to the nearby hospitals will have an emergency medicines in the form of herbs or shrubs or that they'll be using for better health or immunity or anything which is related to their healthy life. So you can see that they are dependent on the medicines also. Next, grazing of animals. So forest resources are used for grazing of. So you can see grazing of animals usually do not relate to the longer or long trees or oak trees or pine trees such as, but these are only related to the grasses. So you can see that in between the trees if there are grasses, these grasses are mainly used by the animals for grazing and they clear up the ground and they will not allow the unwanted weeds to grow in between. So you can see that forest resources are used by living in and around people for the fuel, fodder and medicines, and also they are using for grazing by the animals. So as I told that for plantation, for planting or vegetation areas, a huge amount of the forests are cut down and also you can see biodiversity area has been removed. Forest department is also responsible for preserving the forest with respect to flora and fauna. So you can see that forest resources or biodiversity of large amount of biodiversity is destroyed by the people living in and around and used by using the wood and other resources for the fodder, fuel and medicines. And you can see that overgrazing of animals also leads to the destruction of the forest, and also they are used for planting of vegetation, certain vegetation, so they clear up the area and you can see that forest resources get depleted. And who is responsible for preserving these forest resources? That's why forest department people are allotted or assigned the job of preserving, conserving the flora and fauna. It's not only the purpose that only forest department people should be involved into it. We as common public also needs to take our responsibility to minimize or utilize the resources in minimal quantity.